Welcome back, everybody, to the Even Your Dynasty show. On today's video, we're going to talk a bit about the Giants' rotation after the Verlander signing and kind of who looks like they might be the odd man out or, a couple different options they may have. If you want our opinions on, the Verlander signing itself, go ahead and check out our live show that we recorded on Tuesday night. Dan and I kind of dove in on, the positives, the negatives, a lot of different ways to look at that signing. And we'll probably talk about it more on Friday night's live show as well. So go ahead and hop in with us there if you want, if you have any specific questions about it or you want, more of our opinion on that. Ricky will probably be able to join us for that one. So he'll, I'm sure, have thoughts as well that he's going to want to share. Also, before we get going on that, if you do enjoy the content we put out, please do like the video, subscribe to the channel. We are going to be doing a giveaway at 1,500 subscribers. We are at 1,300 and change, like 1,300, 600 or 60 or something like that. So, when we get to 1,500, we're going to do another giveaway. So, make sure you hit the like, hit the subscribe, click the bell for notifications so you can get notified of our live shows and all the good stuff. But regarding the rotation, the way I kind of look at it right now, I see four people that are pretty much locked in to being starters, barring injuries, obviously. But if healthy, Webb's going to be a starter. Robbie Ray is going to be a starter. Justin Verlander is going to be a starter. And now I'm basing this off of how I think the team views them and feels about each guy. People might have different opinions on this, but Kyle Harrison is likely locked in as a starter, at least going into the season. I know a lot of people have concerns. The velocity was down. The command was pretty spotty. But just his upside and how the team talks about him, I think he's pretty much locked into a spot. So that kind of leaves either, two options or, they're going to have somebody that's going to be the odd man out of the rotation. So, the first option is they can go with a 6-man rotation, which now I've seen a couple, iterations of this that people have brought up as ideas. And I mean, there's one of them I do like more than the other, but my main concern with 6-man rotations in baseball is if you don't have a bunch of guys that can eat up innings in that 6-man rotation. So if like 4 of the 6 can't consistently get into the 6th or 7th inning, your bullpen, which is now short a pitcher because of the fact that you're doing a 6-man starting rotation, your bullpen is now going to be short one pitcher. You're going to be, it can cause a lot of issues where you're going to be struggling to, keep your bullpen fresh. And right now, the Giants, we have questions on Robbie Ray, though I'm going to give him some benefit of the doubt. He's historically eaten up some innings. Justin Verlander, if he's healthy, I'm pretty confident will eat up some innings. He's 42, though, coming off some neck and shoulder injuries last season. There is reason to be concerned there. But your other 3 starters, Birdsong, Harrison, and Hicks, have not really shown a, ability to consistently get beyond the 4th or 5th inning. So if you're going to have 3, maybe 4, maybe even 5 guys in your 6-man rotation that can't get through the 5th inning reliably, you might have a problem, or even like get into the 6th, like you have a problem. And the other iteration of this I've seen, which I actually like this one more because of the fact that if you just go traditional 6-man, you're actually kind of limiting the value of your best pitcher. Logan Webb, it's not just that like, oh, he's an effective pitcher. Like he eats up innings. So if you take away if you take away 20, 30 innings from what he gives you at the end of the year, you just limited his value to your team. So I don't like that personally. The other option, though, is you do a 6-man rotation, but you pitch Logan Webb every 5th game still. So everybody else just kind of gets bumped a spot every time Webb's turn comes in. You could do that, and then Webb's still pretty valuable. Everybody else is going to be getting kind of quite a bit of rest. I mean, it's going to be like an extra day or 2 of rest at that point, depending on where their spot falls. So you could do that. And maybe with that, they'd be able to pitch deeper into games more consistently. So, I mean, I like that option better than the other. But that said, I still am. My stronger preference would be going a 5-man. The only exception would be if Roki Sasaki said he wanted to come and he wants to run a 6-man rotation. then I'd probably say, all right, just do the 6-man, but let Webb go every 5 days. So you're not cutting into his value. So that would be kind of the first option. Now, the other is you just stick with a 5-man rotation. This is my preference. You stick with a 5-man, but that means somebody's going to be the odd man out. Now, my preference between the two with Hicks and Birdsong, I think it's no secret. I'd rather they stick with Hayden Birdsong. Let him continue building up his arm. He threw 129 innings last season. I feel like he can give you 140 to 150 this season and just keep, building up his arm strength and his durability, every year. Yes, you may have to, phantom IL him for 10 days at some point in the year to give him a small break. Same thing like they did with Harrison at one point, although then he did have the ankle injury afterward and a few different things. You could potentially do something like that, but my preference would definitely be Birdsong. But there is some kind of talk out there that, Buster Posey has said, oh, well, we signed Hicks as a starter. He's going to get to be a starter. And if you're going to go that route, I have pretty strong feelings like this or about this. If you're going to go with Jordan Hicks, and some of you might have seen my X post yesterday, if you're going to go with Jordan Hicks in the rotation, just please do not put Hayden Birdsong in the bullpen. And I know a lot of people are probably going to say, well, we want him contributing at the major leagues. I understand that. But if they're going to put Jordan Hicks in the rotation for the first, month and a half or whatever, until it's crystal clear that he needs to get pulled again, because inevitably his arm's going to wear down again. And we're going to see, he can't last a full season again. If you're going to go that route, at least put Birdsong in Sacramento and let him work on a starting pitcher's workload from day one. Don't do this stuff where you put him like kind of what they did with the Roop, where do this stuff where you have a guy that you like as a starting pitcher, but you put him in the pen and limit his pitch count for half the season. And then all of a sudden you expect him to jump his pitch count from 40 to 90 almost overnight and try and make him start late in the year, where all of a sudden now, oh, his arm's not built up, so he's only going to be able to give you 4 or 5 innings. Let him build up his arm from day one. Give him a full seasons as a starting pitcher, and don't pull him up until he is going to be in the rotation. And that way, he can throw the appropriate amount of innings in the minors, per start, getting 5 or 6 innings per start in the minors. And then when you bring him up later in the year, he should be ready to go 5 or 6 innings, and not this, oh, well, we're bringing up this starting pitcher. They did this with Mason Black a few times where they brought him up, but his pitch count in the minors was like 75. And yeah, we could talk about his effectiveness and all that stuff, but his pitch count had been like 70 to 75 in the minors when they brought him up the first time in particular. And we bring these guys up and they give you a few innings and you're kind of going, okay, is it going to be time to pull them? And it's like the 4th inning. I don't want to see that. So if you're going to go with Hicks, put Birdsong in Sacramento and let him be a starting pitcher until you're ready to let him start at the major league level. So that would be what I would say if they do go that route. Now, that said, you look at what Jordan Hicks did last season, and he started the season great. I remember I made a video saying, like, is this sustainable? And based off like what he was doing, I felt like, yeah, it's sustainable. But then, of course, his arm wore down. And that was my biggest concern at the time of the video. As I said, well, the big question is how's his arm going to do as the season goes? And we got that answer. It just couldn't last. His stuff deteriorated. He couldn't stay in the strike zone. He was just infinitely more hittable because, he's throwing like 92, 94 instead of 104 like we've seen him do. So my thing is just put him in the pen. Let him be, I don't know if you want to use him as middle relief, setup guy, long relief. You can maybe even make him a bulk guy. Let him throw like 3 innings at a time. I think he could give you 80 or 90 innings over the course of a full season. If you let him just sit in the pen and empty the tank, kind of, so to speak, per start or per appearance. I think his value to the team is just much higher in that role because he's going to be more effective in that role. And Birdsong, I think, is better equipped to be a starting pitcher. So that's what I would, that's part of why I would go with Birdsong. The other part of that is, just as a starter, you look at what Jordan Hicks did last season, and after May 8th, he couldn't even get it. He didn't clear 5 1/3 innings after May 8th. Like, to me, that's a problem. And many of his starts, he only made it 3 or 4 innings because he got knocked around. So if you have a guy that's every time through the rotation is not getting out of the fourth even, that's a real problem with your rotation. So I would personally go with Birdsong. I think that's no secret. This is but the main thing of this video was I just wanted to kind of say, if they're gonna go Hicks, just keep Birdsong in Sacramento and put him on ice until you're ready. Well, I mean, not put him on ice. You're still letting him pitch innings, but just let him be where he would be most beneficial to his development. So let me know what you guys think. Appreciate everyone tuning in. As always, if you do want to join or follow me on all my other different social medias, I'll put them down below here for a second. It's, you can follow me on X, TikTok, Instagram, all that good stuff. We do try and post some shorts there. Once the season gets going, we may, the goal is going to be to get to some different games and things like that. So you might get actually more content on those different social medias once the season gets rolling. But in the meantime, we kind of just put shorts from some of these different videos. So appreciate you guys. Go Giants, and check us out tomorrow night for our live show. And Dan and Ricky will be hopping on with me. All right. See you, everyone.